Hello and welcome to Fish on Northwest. Wayne and Tommy Dunlin.
Hey, buddy.
Yeah.
9 feet out behind me right now, so put your stopper up there on your mono.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a slow grind in the morning, you know, and that happens sometimes.
When you present it, you're sweeping it over an area. Now, when you get these big, wide areas...
Yeah, those are the new Columbia River pop from McKay crab and shrimp here.
There we go.
Yes, indeed.
Nicely done, buddy.
That's a beautiful fish, Dwayne. Nicely done.
Thanks for rolling me into him, Mike.
Yes, sir.
Hello and welcome to Fish on Northwest. Wayne and Tommy Donlin coming to you live from the Fish on Northwest studio located here in Olympia, Washington. And gosh, 76 degrees. You kidding me?
It is absolutely beautiful.
May 1st. Welcome everybody to the program. But I mean, you know, I'm kind of a weather geek, and I just it seems like July.
I know.
To be honest,
it does.
Right. But it's really what we want. Like sunny, amazing sunny days and flat oceans.
That's right. And you know, and it was a flat ocean today, and today was the halibut opener on the coast.
May 1st, official opener. All 4 ocean areas open. Halibut, lingcod. We are off and running.
Yes.
And things to look forward to. By the way, so knowing that, and you being, you know, just a fiend about the ocean fisheries and opportunity, and looking at forecasts going into this weekend, that is the one thing about high temperature conditions around Thursday, Friday.
Yeah.
We usually end up pulling some air at some point through the weekend, right? It sets you up for a blow. And you were hoping to get out Sunday?
I was, but it's looking a little questionable. It's borderline. Yep, right now.
That's because of this heat.
Yeah.
Well, so I wanted to give you a little something to lean on and look into and just get excited about. Got a little halibut teaser for you.
All right.
Got a little bit of halibut teaser from previous season to get you motivated to go out and get after them. Take a look at this.
Oh yeah. Big halibut.
That's a dandy.
Big halibut. Here we go. Oh yeah, there we go. Over the rail. Yeah, dude. The tuna belly, dude. There we go. Oh, tuna belly. Yeah. Look at that. He liked that, didn't he? Oh, yeah. Yes, sir, baby. Go, man. Don't pull his head out of the water. Oh, yeah, dude.
Nice.
That's a sick kick right there.
That is.
That's awesome. Sun hound. That's how you do it, there. Now we're quality. Dinner is coming. Yeah, everybody's having to work for them today, bro. Nice. Let's go, bro.
That was a great trip.
Yeah, man, those guys worked for those halibut. They were not using electric reels.
No, that was all the hand crank.
Yeah, those were deep drops. I think we were 600 to 700 on those.
And just a phenomenal crew to be with on the water. Yeah. Any of those guys, all stellar fishermen, and just, you know, we're hooting and hollering. You can see the high-fiving going on. It was an epic day on the water. We caught tons of fish. Fantastic things to look forward to. But that being said, let's back up. Last weekend was the Lowland Lake opener. Trout season opener, officially open, as we referred to the go harvest your halibut and lingcod bait. And we did just that. You know, I had opportunity. So looking back, we sold our house last year at the lake, right? The wonderful person who bought it, Laura, we've become very good friends with, which is bonus for me because I get to tie my boat up at the dock. Right. But I promised her we would take her and her friend Veronica out on opening day. They've never caught fish, Tommy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Unbelievable.
We're talking about, you know, a couple women, you know, well down the road in their life. It's not like we're taking teenagers.
Sure.
These ladies wanted to go fishing. So we took them out opening day, caught a pile of trout and some kokanee, and they had an absolute wonderful time. This brings us to the peak outdoor moment of the week.
There's a kind of peace moving every couple years, packing up and finding a new home. There's There's a beauty in the anonymity it brings. When my feet get to itching, I just run. All my friends have stopped inviting me to where they are, figuring I'll just be on the road. It's not that they're wrong, it's just that I wish it were different. But hey, the plane is boarding, time to go.
Well, there you go, a little quick zap of the old peak outdoor moment of the week, getting those ladies out on some fish. Had an absolute wonderful time. The weather was questionable in the morning, but it warmed up a bit, and we had a fantastic day. So much fun.
Yeah, it looked like it. You know, no matter what age you are,
yep,
and no matter which fishery you're doing,
yep.
I mean, fishing just brings a smile to your face. It doesn't matter what.
I like to say, you know, fishing brings people together.
Yes,
it truly does. All right, running down the show. We have an update on WDFW budget cuts, cause and effects, Tommy. Also a reminder of our up-and-coming Kids Trout Derby. Then, of course, welcoming our good buddy Bill Herzog to the show. Just home from a few days on the road. We'll discuss his experience on Blue Lake for Lahontan Cutthroat. And then he'll be back on a second installment, and we'll discuss Palmer Lake Kokanee. Is this year for there to be a 20-incher for you? Got a bait lab lined up. We're going to drop into the bait lab Brad's Killer Fishing Gear and the Lil Wiggler. How to fish the 2-inch crankbait for trout and kokanee. You're going to want to take notes on this one. Then, of course, our good buddy Toby Wyatt, owner at Real Time Fishing, Drano Lake, the good, the bad, the ugly, and Springer fishing. And, of course, some technique points with Toby in the second installment, prawn spinners and fishing the skinny mini for springers and how to get it done. Jumping out for a quick break. We'll come back with an in-depth discussion right here after this. Allied, the new leader in heavy gauge aluminum boats. Allied boats have standard reverse chine and lifting rakes to help you plane faster and run at lower RPMs. Allied boats have several models to choose from, ranging from a 19-foot Mustang all the way up to a 32-foot Liberator. So regardless of what type of heavy gauge aluminum boats you are looking for, Allied Boats will have it for you. Contact Allied Boats today to learn more about these incredible fishing machines.
I make my living catching fish, not only as a tournament angler, but as a guide as well. Catching fish is important, and Gamakatsu hooks for me, you know, they kind of help take the luck out of fishing a little bit just because they're a high quality hook. Obviously have a really good reputation for being very strong and very sharp. Gamakatsu, I use their products every day in the boat, and, you know, big part of my success.
All right, welcome back here to the program. Now, tell me, out of Olympia this week, as written by Andy Wogmont over at Northwest Sportsman Magazine, there's still a matter of the governor's signature or veto as it comes to DFW is taking stock in the operating and capital budget Washington state legislators had just passed in Olympia. And what he means by that is DFW is receiving or in line for significant cuts. And some of those are going to affect their operational abilities, and we're going to lose out on some programs. That is the reality. Now, they're still trying to source through it all, figure out exactly where they're going to land and what we're going to lose out on. But I want to remind everybody, this is on the heels of lawmakers increasing our fishing and hunting licenses by 38%.
Yes. They
They also have brought back the Columbia River endorsement at the tune of $8.75 per angler who chooses to fish the Columbia River and or tributaries. And that is also an increase on Discover Pass. So it's not just fishers and hunters. It's all those that choose to recreate. Discover Pass, 50% increase, and personalized license plates. Now, it sounds like a lot of money, and it is going to generate a lot of money into the tune of millions of dollars. That being said, they have been butchered on their budget on the amount of monies that come from the general fund into DFW coffers to align with their budget requirements. So the monies they're pulling in on these increased fees and everything else barely scratches the surface on how much they're losing out on of not getting money out of the general fund.
Well, and it's really sad too, because, you know, the WDFW budget is really a very, very small portion of the overall state budget.
You're right. Yeah.
And when you look at the state budget, right, you're talking about a $12 billion shortfall, right?
Yep.
You're not talking any small number, but you know what they did is they looked at all the state agencies and they applied cuts across the board.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that means a lot more to an agency like WDFW than some of the other ones. And so, an example of one of the cuts, they cut $4.4 million out of a ongoing hatchery program that was evaluating, hatchery survivability and how to address these environmental conditions, and really kind of promote that hatchery management. And also, in addition to that, rebuilding our natural stocks. And now, right now the table is saying, it's off the table. It's gone, right?
And how do you move forward in hatchery production and monitoring cause and effect when you're in in the waters and mixing it in with ESA listed stocks, especially in wild strains? Like, those programs have to have monitoring and they have to be on it year after year.
Yes.
If you lose a year of data points on any of these, it's a tremendous setback.
Yes.
And we end up catching the brunt of that. As an example, one that I'm very frustrated with the fact we're probably going to lose is the 1.6 million DFW requested for the continuing monitoring in the Quicksilver portfolio, as we discussed on the Skagit River sock system. We lose out on that with no monitoring going on. The co-managers are not going to agree to allow us to have access to a fishery that there is no monitoring or survey being conducted. So that's one that we're going to lose moving forward. If we don't lose in 26, I guarantee probably gone in 27. So we'll have to see where that materializes moving down the road. 4.4 million reduced. Forest fuels and WDFW wildland areas. That's significant.
It is.
We have a history in this state of not managing our forests very well. And we've seen the conflagration that erupts when we get wildland fires, especially on the east side, in some of these drier seasons here on the west side. So, and obviously my previous employment, understanding what all that means.
Right.
When we don't manage our forests and clean up a lot of the windfalls, deadfalls, beetle kill, all that stuff, it's a tinderbox ready to explode. That's going to be problematic. $2 million for certain assessment areas on riparian system areas. 1.4 million. This one is frustrating as well. You got to hire staff to complete required paperwork and monitor the ESA listed fisheries that we have access to on the Columbia River. Now, I had just mentioned that they increased the fees, $8.75 for the Columbia River endorsement. So how are they taking money over here? And then we're not going to provide enough funds to ensure DFW has the staffing. Again, this isn't DFW's fault. The legislator won't fund the program to ensure that we have the staffing available to conduct the surveys needed to monitor the fisheries on the Columbia. Which ones they are exactly, I don't know. But there is a number of them. And this all goes up against the requirements for ESA listed stocks and NOAA. So if you can't conduct the surveys and don't monitor your fisheries.
Yeah. And the other thing that you and I were talking before the show, you get a 4-to-1 return on investment. When you put money into this industry, the economy booms, people spend money, they support the Washington State ecosystem, and you get it all back. But that's not how the legislators are looking at it.
They don't look at it that way. Most state programs, they align the budgets, the money goes into this division or this sector, and the money leaves and it goes out. But to your point, monies that trickle through DFW and into all that we enjoy doing, the rate of return throughout communities is 4-to-1. So that's a valid point. All right, real quickly, reminder, Fish Hunt Northwest 5th Annual Kids Trout Derby at Summit Lake. This is our 5th annual derby hosted by us at Summit Lake. The date is Saturday, May 17th. There is a lot going on there. This is for kids 14 years of age or under. Every child's going to receive a free t-shirt and a raffle ticket. Weigh-in must be in line for weigh-in at the community center by 11 a.m. You can go to our social media platforms and look at all the information available. We've been talking about this for a couple months now. The time is getting close. If your child is 5 or under, they can fish the trout pond that we have on location and win just as many prizes as the big kids. And also, there is free food, breakfast and lunch provided by Mission Outdoors, free food and drink all day long. Tons of awards to give away for placing in the Derby and, of course, with the raffle tickets. Blake did a phenomenal job customizing a new graphic for the Derby this year on the kids' T-shirts. And the Washington State Guide Association will be there to take kids and families out fishing on the lake for the Derby free of charge. All you got to do is show up, jump in a boat, and go fishing. So email us at fishhuntnw@gmail.com. We will get your name and your kid's name on the list, and we will assign you to a boat the morning of. All right, lots going on in that regard. It's going to be here in a couple of weeks. Really excited to bring it to you. Jumping out for a quick break. We come back. Bill Herzog.
All Defiance boats are built without any structural wood materials. That is why all boats are backed with a lifetime warranty. All Defiance boats come standard with large fish boxes that are fully insulated so that you can ice your fish properly all day. All Defiance boats are foam flotation filled and unsinkable for the ultimate in safety while fishing offshore. Before you buy any boat, stop by or call Defiance Boats today to ensure you are getting the very best class boat your money can buy.
Start your outdoor adventure at SportGo and Outdoor Emporium. 2 locations with the best selection of name brand outdoor gear at affordable warehouse pricing. Over 60,000 different items to fit in your adventure. Like Gamakatsu fishing gear, premium grade high carbon steel hooks, Gamakatsu custom designed fillet and boning knives to tackle and storage containers. Gamakatsu, simply the best. Maximize your outdoor adventure with the right gear at SportGo and Outdoor Emporium, Fife and Seattle.
All right, welcome back here to the program. You familiar with this next individual?
I am.
Yes,
I am.
He actually graces us with his presence in the boat and in the studio from time to time. The General himself, Mr. Bill Herzog, joining the program. And Bill, great to have you on. Better to get you in studio, but you've been on the road enough lately, so you need a little time at home.
I certainly do. And by the way, Happy New Year. Today, May 1st, guys, is my new year, my new fishing year.
That's right.
Summer runs are starting, salmon are coming around, and it goes all the way to Thanksgiving. So we're going to celebrate New Year's the right way.
Herzog's New Year, May 1st. Only in the
How
mind
you
of
doing?
Bill Herzog.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Hey, let's jump into this. So you spent a couple days on the road with Buddy Mike. Just got home. You first day fishery you went after was over at Blue Lake for Lahontan Cutthroat. Talk about, first of all, for those that are unaware of that species of cutthroat, talk about why those fish are in that particular lake.
Because it's an alkaline lake, and like Pyramid Lake, where they come from, they're the only trout species that can live and they're alkaline. So whenever you find an alkaline lake like Omak Lake, he's down there, and that's the only fish we can get. And so they're doing very well in there, by the way. Very well.
Yeah, absolutely.
So and they're a long ways up there.
Hey, tell us a little bit more about this Blue Lake, Bill. Is this, is it a spring-fed lake? Is it deep? And tell us a little bit about the regulations. Are motors allowed? Not allowed? What's the program?
Well, you can pretty much, it's electric motors only, and you can use bait, but you really don't have to. Those fish are quite numerous, and they're beautiful. They're 2 to 7 pounds, and there's a few fish that we had on momentarily that would push an honest 10 pounds. So they do exist there.
No kidding.
And they're beautiful fish. They have spawning colored ones, and they have ones that are absolutely chrome bright, like the pictures I sent you, Dwayne. They're gorgeous fish.
Oh, they're absolutely gorgeous. And as you had said, the colored up ones are getting ready for their little pre-spawn right now. The shiny ones are probably next year spawners, but just a variety of colors, absolutely gorgeous fish, all wild. Tell me this. So it's a high alkaline lake. Again, that's why we find those lakes with this particular species of cutthroat just thriving. Any other fish in that lake? What are these things eating?
They're eating, and there's plenty of aquatic insects in there. So they're eating well that way. I don't think there's any amphibians in there. We did see turtles, but no sign of frogs. So They're probably eating smaller fish of their own kind, I would imagine. I don't think there's sculpin or anything like that lives in there.
Sure.
That's interesting. So, okay, so they're eating the bugs, they're eating maybe their own. So, you know, so when you're trying to target fish that have that as their normal buffet diet, what are you using to catch these guys?
Well, the good part is cutthroat. We don't like to call them stupid. We like to call them opportunistic. And you can pretty much catch them on a yo-yo, a tennis shoe, anything you like. Honest to God, anything. Tackle box challenge. Pull something else, throw it out there, throw a spoon. But we wanted to jig because wind was really blowing hard. You know how hard it is to jig in the wind. It's impossible. So the best we could do was just throw spinners, like number 3, all silver blade and yellow body, and they worked very well.
Yeah, the jigging, the twitching, the jigs, the trout jigs you make up, the sculpin patterns and other green patterns and whatnot that you have shown time and time again over the years perform very well in a number of lakes, even from the shoreline. You have a knack for finding these larger fish in all these little hidey-hole lakes. Let's talk a little bit about some other techniques that work on these Lahontans in other bodies of water, like trolling small plugs would seem to work out real well. Is that an option that you can do at Blue Lake?
It certainly is. And smaller plugs like a number 50 hot shot, that size, we'd go out there and just long line them close to shore lake for fishing sea run cutthroat in the shallows. They're all in the shallows this time of year because that's where the warmest water is and all the bug activity. So they're all going to be within the first 5 to 20 feet of water.
Yeah,
pretty much everyone we caught.
Cool.
Now, Bill, I've known you for a while now, and I know that you typically don't opt for bait, I'll say, unless Dwayne forces you to. And then you might have to. But you correct me if I'm wrong, but this Blue Lake, this is selective gear rules. I mean, it sounds like you didn't even need it, but is that there's no bait allowed? Leave your power bait at home, no sense, none of that. Is that accurate?
When in doubt, go that direction. There has been bait allowed in the past.
Oh, okay.
This year we didn't check and couldn't check, so they were like, "Oh, well, I guess we're just going to throw spinners and troll plugs around," and so I had to do. With the wind, we really wanted to jig so bad.
I can imagine.
Couldn't do it.
Yeah,
too much wind.
All right, well, that was day one. You were on the road for a couple of days. You hit another lake. So we're going to jump out for a quick break. We come back. We're going to talk about a little destination up near the border called Palmer Lake and what is beneath the surface that you need to go after this season. More with Bill Herzog right after this break. Defiance Marine is the one-stop shop for the Pacific Northwest angler. Defiance Marine guarantees the best price on a new and best service on a repower for your current boat. Defiance Marine is a Honda Premier dealership and one of the largest on the West Coast. Defiance Marine is a boat dealer who proudly sells Defiance, Allied, and Arima boats. All boats are built by West Coast fishermen for West Coast fishermen. Defiance Marine has all your boating needs to help you get out on the water.
The Northwest premier upland bird hunting destination. Located along the beautiful Umatilla River in eastern Oregon. Fully guided bird hunts with expert guides and top-notch dogs. Enjoy comfortable accommodation and gourmet meals at the Riverview Lodge. Book your sensational hunting experience with Horseshoe Curve Outdoors.
All right, welcome back to the program. Still on with Bill Herzog. Now, Bill, your little road trip here led you even farther to the northeast corner of the state, up very close to the Canadian border, a little lake called Palmer Lake. Now, we had some reports that there's some good-sized kokanee in there this year. You know, as we know, kokanee fishing is cyclical, and some years we can have some banner years. Is this one of those years? Is it worth the drive to commit and go up there and take on that challenge? Are you finding some big fish up there in Palmer Lake?
Well, here's the deal. If you judge success by numbers and just nice kokanee, you can have a spectacular day up there right now with all 3 boats that were there. All of us were hooked up nonstop from the time you drop something in the water till you wanted to leave. We left around noon, and the bite was still raging when we took the boat out.
Go figure.
That is phenomenal. Nonstop action. I like that. So Dwayne may have alluded to this a little bit, but he said, you know, what did you say, little Lake Palmer or something like that? And I know you know, sure. Dwayne always says little is relative, but I am curious, like how big is Lake Palmer? And you know, tell us a little bit, like what is your like ideal vessel size for this lake? And are there any restrictions, motor restrictions?
Pretty much, Dwayne's boat would work dandy there now. Well, but motors to go, no sweat, no size restrictions or anything. But it's almost 6 miles long and a mile wide.
That's
so it's pretty big water. But we got so lucky, man. It was so calm and so nice when we were there.
Beautiful.
And I was rowing, and I went, okay, so we're looking for big fish. And the first, 15 fish we hooked were all between 11 and 14 inches. And I'm thinking, okay, if the big ones are here, maybe they just can't get to it. There's so many smaller aggressive fish. And we had one other boat that was out there all day, had one gorgeous 19-inch, almost 20-inch fish. But he said that's the first one he's caught in 2 days. He averaged like one a day, every other day.
So seems
that
like
was the intel I got these guys.
Pretty average year at Palmer, to say the least. So you know, part of the attraction, especially for guys like you and I, when we go tackle on new bodies of water or for haven't fished it for a number of years and we go back, it's cracking the code. Like what works in one lake, they won't even touch on another lake. We've experienced that time and time again. So cracking the code, what'd you learn at Palmer? What'd you take away? And talk a little bit about where you're finding this fish. Now you're in your drift boat, you're rowing, you don't even have an electric motor. So you're dragging gear. So I'm assuming you're fishing lead, no downriggers. Talk about your setbacks and depths.
Well, we had one flat line with a regular size Aero Flash Dodger. We put back 135 feet, flat line that one. The other one had 1 ounce of lead on it, and we put it back 100 feet. So we had one problem around fishing 10 and probably one close to 15 feet down. The other guys were marking fish who had proper gear out there, and they said they're marking and getting all their fish between 10 and 25 feet. So all the fish were there, all sizes.
Nice and shallow.
But the little guys, there were a lot of kokanee there, man. We probably had 50 grabs in 4 hours.
That's
easily.
A lot. Yeah, that's busy.
Yeah, the problem is when you're flatlining, you miss a lot of bites. Oh my goodness, because there's always that little bit of give. You have more action because the give of the rod kicks that dodger back and forth, makes it go crazy, right? Fish love that. You'll get more bites, but you hook half as many fish. It's a hell of a paradox. It works really well.
It always blows my mind how far back you set the gear for kokanee. I mean, that's farther than I would set the gear for tuning.
Sure,
to have it that far back. And so talk to us a little bit, Bill, about your lure selection, your profile, large, small. Talk to us about colors. Give us what does that terminal tackle system look like that you were using?
Well, first we start out with a spinner bead combo dual hook with pink maggots on there, garlic tuna. What do you know? Surprise, Dwayne. Yeah. But well, I just happen to I have green ones and I have ones in pink. Look at that. I made these up for the show. Everybody can have a look-see. Beautiful. Yeah, that's silver plated, like a rooster tail blade up on top. A small blade. 3 or 4 4mm hot pink beads, 1 tiny chartreuse, and a rasticle bottom dual on that with #1 hooks. Ta-da. On 16-pound test, 18 inches of 16-pound fluorocarbon.
So a little longer leader.
The longer leader seemed to work well. We started with green on one side, pink on the other. The pink went off nonstop. Then the green would go. Pink would go 5 more times. Then the green would go. Okay, 2 pinks nonstop. Now, unlike a couple years back, they wanted nothing but green, especially the big fish. But we never encountered one over 15 inches. We got three about that size, and that topped out for us.
Interesting.
So, for halibut bait.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, perfect sense for halibut bait.
Delicious halibut bait, sir.
A number of our fisheries, Bill, we can get away with even, 7-9 inch leaders, lots of whip, lots of action. Kind of an average for us, and a lot of the things we go out and do, 13, 12, 13, 14 inch, 18 inch leader. That's a pretty lengthy leader when we're talking kokanee. But if that's what they're grabbing, it's what they're grabbing. It's what you go with, right?
Yeah. What happened was when you got that far setback, you get just a little side to side action, barely. It makes it a little wiggle, maybe in a 3 or 4 inch winch wide swath.
Yeah.
Hardly not much action. That's what they wanted. Something just not moving, because when you had shorter stuff that kicked, you wouldn't eat it. As soon as we just lined lengthened stuff up, it was bing, bing, bing.
Right. Well, I guess you made the road trip for a lot of folks that may think about going there, and now they have some good knowledge to base their trip on, and they know exactly what type of gear to present. And big boat, small boat, rowing, don't even need a motor. Doing the Bill Herzog style, and you're going to get it done. So
love it.
Always a pleasure, my friend. We never have enough time. We can go about this for hours. So next time I see you, you're probably going to be here in the studio.
We're going to talk about rowing. Anytime.
Anytime, buddy.
I'm going to be there soon, because we're going jigging.
Yeah, we got to get in the backyard, do some jigging here in a week or so. Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, buddy. Stay in touch. We'll be in touch with you for sure.
All right, kids. Have fun.
Yep.
Thanks.
Take care.
All right. Thank you.
Bill Herzog, the general himself and Kokanee Phenom Fish Guru. It was on his title for today's program. All right. Jumping out for a quick break. We come back. A little bait lab in the Brad's Low Wiggler and how you need to fish this. And I guarantee you'll find success right after this break.
A Northwest favorite for almost 40 years, Arima boats are manufactured with pride in Bremerton, Washington. All Arima boats are built without any structural wood materials. That is why Arima boats are backed with a lifetime warranty. Arima can offer every boat with Honda outboard packages so that you can take advantage of the reliability and 5-year top-to-prop warranty from your Honda outboard. Call or stop by Arima boats today and let them help you get into your very next boat.
You haven't been here, but you know it. You've heard the sounds, smelt the air, and seen where your heart lands, if not yet. You haven't been here, but you've longed for a destination near or far. A place where discovery and history thrive for young eyes and old alike. You haven't been here, but you're on your way to a place not far. ExploreTheDalles.com.
I make my living catching fish, not only as a tournament angler, but as a guide as well. Catching fish is important, and Gamakatsu hooks for me, they kind of help take the luck out of fishing a little bit just because they're a high quality hook. Obviously have a really good reputation for being very strong and very sharp. Gamakatsu, I use their products every day in the boat, and big part of my success.
All right, welcome back here in studio. Obviously, we are here in the Bait Lab. Bait Lab presentation is brought to you by the good folks at Max Lure. Now, last Saturday was the recognized season opener, Lowland Lake opener for trout. Lots of lakes in the state full of trout, and hopefully, excuse me, you had an opportunity to get the kiddos out and had a really successful day. I know we did. We got into a pile of trout and a handful of kokanee, just had an absolute blast. One of the methods I was using, it's so simple and works so well, especially if you want to get the kids on a bunch of trout, is running these little wigglers. These are the 2-inch crankbait, floating crankbait by Brad's Killer Fishing Gear. It's the Lil Wiggler, L-I-L Wiggler. Again, it's a floating crankbait. It's a 2-inch crankbait. And now look, we use a lot of plugs for steelhead and salmon and larger fish environments. These little guys for trout, kokanee, cutthroat, pretty much anything in the lake that will chase after it. They just work so well, and it's so easy to use. Now, these little guys, believe it or not, on the troll, which typically for trout and kokanee, more so for trout. We're at 1.5 to 2 miles per hour. These little guys will dig and not roll over and continue to function, you know, upwards of 2 miles per hour as you're chasing trout. The nice thing is they will dive, just flatline troll behind the boat, say 50 feet out. They're going to dive down to 9 or 10 feet, which is great early season. Now, we've had some pretty warm weather. Lakes are starting to warm up. Fish are going a little deeper. We got to get down to them. So we're going to hang a little bit of weight on our presentation. First, I want to talk to you about a selection of fishing rod. Now, this is the Redline series, Redline Kokanee series from Lamaglass. This is a 9-foot two-piece rod. It's rated at 6 to 12 pound test. It might sound a little heavy when we're talking trout and kokanee, but it's not. The forgiveness in this glass, especially the top 3/4 of this rod, is fantastic. A 12-inch rainbow or kokanee on this is a lot of fun, even for the kids. The beef of the rod is down here in the butt end, and the nice thing about it is it's a versatile rod. And that, yes, I can use it in downriggers. Yes, I can use it when fishing lead, small leads for trout, but I can weight this thing down 2, 4, 6 ounces later in the season when I start chasing sockeye. I can hang bigger dodgers on it, up to 6 ounces of lead if I need to, and we can go after sockeye with this. So for me, as far as a downrigger rod or a versatile lead rod, and talking, you know, about getting bigger fish like sockeye, this thing is fantastic. Check it out. It's the 9-foot Redline Kokanee series by Lamaglass. So let's talk about adding a little bit of weight to this. Now, I like to use these inline sliders, these little clear, the small version slider by VIP. Let me take you to the tabletop here and show you exactly what this is. So this is just a little clear slider that you put onto your main line, and then we're just going to pin it in place with these Bomag bobber stops. Now I have a single stop on the top end of it, and I double up on the stoppers below it just to ensure that this is not going to slide down towards my terminal end where the plug is. I want to make sure this thing stays far and away from my plug so it doesn't reduce the action on my plug. And it's got a dual lock hanging on here, and all we do is, this is a 1-ounce little cannonball. We're just hanging that, clip that shut. We're just hanging that right there on the main line. And that's just pretty much it. It's just going to stay right there. One bobber stop below it probably does it, but I like to secure it in place and make sure it's not going to move. So I go with 2 bobber stops. Now I'm running that just up the line. Here's my swivel, and we're just going to run that up the line 6 to 8 feet above the plug that I'm choosing to run. I can also use this with dodgers and kokanee presentation. It's going to work real well in that aspect as well, but today we're talking plugs. So 6 or 8 feet up the line, I can fish this by myself. I can net the fish by myself, knowing that as I reel that in, I have, you know, 6 or 8 feet below where the lead's going to stop against my top guide, but I got a 9-foot rod, so I'm able to, if I have a long enough net handle and capable, I can net that fish by myself, no big deal. And it stays in place, it gets it down. Again, the plug's going to dive down to about 9 or 10 feet, adding an ounce of lead. We're getting down easily 25 feet or so. You're gonna find there's a lot of fish living in that atmosphere as the weather warms up. Another method, and it's very simple, on how to clip weight on as you progress. We're gonna let line out 25, 50 feet, and maybe I want to add weight at that point. I grab my little downrigger clips that we use for kokanee and trout fishing, and all we're doing here is using a larger dual lock, and I'm clipping 1/2 ounce, 1 ounce lead onto these downrigger clips, okay? And simply by doing that, once I let out 25, 50 feet of line, I can clip that on and send it out. Now, it's a lot easier if somebody's fishing with you. They can clip it on, you can continue to pay out your presentation and then get it out to 75 or 100 feet, whatever you want, as far as how far back you're gonna troll. The other thing is, when you reel this in, somebody needs to unclip this so you can continue to fight the fish the rest of the way and get it to the boat. So that will be in your way unless it's removed. A little difficult to do by yourself. That's why I often pin these with the VIP little mini slider and hang the weight off of there, and it works fantastic. The other thing I want to remind you on these little plugs, they got quite a large bill space on here, which is ideal for putting on our Potskis fire gel. And I typically will run a little dab on there, just smear it on the bill. No big deal. I'm putting on crayfish or shrimp. going to absolutely get it done with the trout. These little wigglers are a great alternative. They're always fishing unless you get into the weeds. You're not having to worry about bait and that type of stuff. As far as, you know, you get busy when you got a couple of kids in the boat and you just want to get the gear out in the water and get on the troll. 1.5 to 2 miles per hour, add some weight if you choose to, drop it down, get it in their face. Definitely going to put trout in the boat. Okay, jumping out for a quick break. We'll be back in studio right after this.
You haven't been here, but you know it. You've heard the sounds, smelt the air, and seen where your heart lands, if not yet. You haven't been here, but you've longed for a destination near or far, where the young and old find rest and excitement, not apart. You haven't been here, but you're on your way to a place not far. ExploreTheDalles.com.
Yep, for sure. Oh yeah, big fish. Yeah, buddy. Nice fish. Oh, beauty. Gorgeous fish.
Bobby's on the board.
We got a good one.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Oh, geez, come on.
nice fish. Nice fish.
All Defiance boats are built without any structural wood materials. That is why all boats are backed with a lifetime warranty. All Defiance boats come standard with large fish boxes that are fully insulated so that you can ice your fish properly all day. All Defiance boats are foam flotation filled and unsinkable for the ultimate in safety while fishing offshore. Before you buy any boat, stop by or call Defiance Boats today to ensure you are getting the very best glass boat your money can buy.
All right, welcome back here to the program. Quick little bait lab there, get you squared away.
Excellent. I got to try that this summer.
They work really well.
Yeah.
I mean, and my point towards the end there, you know, the nice thing is if you're not in the weeds and they're trolling and you're always fishing.
Yep.
You're always fishing. They just work so well. So, okay, waiting patiently on the sidelines here, Mr. Toby Wyatt, Real-Time Fishing, www.realtimefishing.com. Welcome back to the program, Toby. It's been a bit, but always good to get you on.
Yeah. How you guys doing?
Oh, we're doing
Excellent.
good. Yeah. How you doing? You tired?
Yeah. Very, very tired.
You're out there getting whooped on, man.
I got beat up by 2 days of the wind and the weeds.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That'll do it.
All right. Hey, you know, one thing as we roll into our spring and into summer fisheries and all these Chinook and Cove fisheries we look forward to, a number of these fisheries draw a significant amount of participation. An example, buoy 10, right? Can be very crowded, but hey, there's a lot of room out there. The Brewster sockeye fishery, heavily participating, gets a little close and dicey with boats once in a while, but again, quite a bit of room. For those who are unaware, maybe briefly describe the experience at Drano Lake and what folks might be in for. Starts off with laughter. That's always good,
you know,
right?
pretty good, right?
Yeah.
It's bumper to bumper.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and there's in a small area where the lake has one entrance, and that's where the fish swim in. So all the boats pile in there, and they do left-hand turns around this little area and try to get first crack at these fish.
Right.
And it's just flat out, just extremely crowded. And the bad part, there's a ton of fish that get caught in there. I've seen hundreds get caught in there in a day. Easy.
Yeah, right.
But the bad thing, the worst part is that as soon as you hook a fish, you're either tangled with somebody else in another boat, or you're gonna get tangled with somebody else. Or sometimes you get lucky and you can actually get one without tangling, but there's a lot of tangling, tensions run high. There's a lot of guides in there that guide it for 3 weeks straight,
Yeah.
4 weeks straight.
People are
Tensions
tired.
just run high. You got guys on the bank casting wiggle warts at you. It's pretty nuts.
I have never been there, but I've seen the videos, Toby.
Yeah.
I would classify it as a UFC fight that you might have a chance of also catching a fish at.
It's a UFC fight, a little fishing breaks out, right?
It is. And so, hey, so the reason though that people are there, like, correct me if I'm wrong, but these springers are basically, they're returning to a hatchery where the little white salmon flows into the lake. Is that correct?
Yeah. And the Drano Lake and the Wind River are terminal fisheries.
Yeah.
Which means that there was never a springer run in there. So we introduced it. So we're not compensating for a lost run. So the harvest opportunities are much greater. That's why they're open every year. And thousands of fish get harvested in both area.
Yeah. Now, is that a 2 fish limit? Is that 2 Chinook or Chinook and steelhead, or what's the limit there?
Yeah, 2 Chinook at Drano and 1 Chinook at Wind River.
Okay.
Now,
they have an established, recognized boundary there. We talk about the conflicts between the bank anglers and the boaters in the corner. In the toilet bowl, the Drano 500, as I call it, everybody going around on a circle at a low rate of speed. Is that boundary still there? Did they move that out a little farther from shore to reduce the conflict?
Well, first off, they had on the north side of the lake they had a sign, and then on the south side on the bridge pillar they had a sign, and that's your imaginary line. And but everybody was cheating it, and some people were cheating it in big fashion. So last year they put a buoy in there that kind of disrupted that a little bit and kept the boats a little more online. But this year it wasn't there, and then yesterday they put it in there.
Oh, go figure.
Yeah, and in my opinion, it's that buoy is one of the dumbest things I've ever seen, really. But it's there. And I think they always put it in the wrong spot, in my opinion.
You got to contend with the buoy as well.
Yeah, I got to control the people. Well, tell you what, we're up against a hard break here. Stay tuned, because we got to get into some of the techniques and how to be successful at Drano. It's not an all doom and gloom. There is opportunity there in a 2 fish limit, and there's an attraction ability there why people want to go fishing. So stick around. We'll jump out for a quick break, and we'll be back here with more with Toby Wyatt right after this.
The Northwest premier upland bird hunting destination. Located along the beautiful Umatilla River in eastern Oregon. Fully guided bird hunts with expert guides and top-notch dogs. Enjoy comfortable accommodations and gourmet meals at the Riverview Lodge. Book your sensational hunting experience with Horseshoe Curve Outdoors.
Start your outdoor adventure at SportGo and Outdoor Emporium, 2 locations with the best selection of name brand outdoor gear at affordable warehouse pricing. Over 60,000 different items to fit in your adventure, like Gamakatsu fishing gear, premium grade high carbon steel hooks, Gamakatsu custom designed fillet and boning knives to tackle and storage containers. Gamakatsu, simply the best. Maximize your outdoor adventure with the right gear at SportGo and Outdoor Emporium, Fife and Seattle.
All right, welcome back. We still have Toby Wyatt with us, and we're talking Drano Lake and Spring Chinook fishery. And so, Toby, As I mentioned before the break, it's not all doom and gloom. We got, some very good reasons to put in time there at Drano Lake and take on all the stressors that are involved with that. Let's talk a little bit of rigging. Lead fishery, 360 flasher. What's your go-to rig? You fishing prawn spinners? What's the deal?
Yeah, prawn spinners and smile blades. Drano, you want everything a little more compact and a little bit smaller. So your bumpers are about 20 inches, your leaders are 28. And then you go to Wind River and you can lengthen it out a little bit more. And that seems to help there. But yeah, a lot of prawn spinners with and smile blades on them. The mini cut plug, the skinny minis. Skinny minis are starting to take hold pretty good in Drano this year. Yeah, I've seen quite a few fish get caught on them, and several of my buddies have done well on them. Conveniently, I left mine at home, so I drive home tomorrow to get all my skinny minis so I can
bring it back with you. Absolutely.
Good deal. Yeah, Toby, one of the things that I picked up by just watching the videos of the Drano 500 is that it seems that you're trolling slow. And even if you're maybe not trying to troll slow, you've got this like constant merge of traffic, right? You may get a boat that comes in front of you and then you have to slow down. And the reason I mention this is because, with 360 flashers, there's a lot of different designs out there. And you got to be able to have one that rotates at that speed that you're trolling. So can you maybe tell us a little bit like what flashers are you using, what colors, and then like, what troll speed are you going in the toilet bowl?
Or trying to go.
Yeah.
Well, the goal is 1.7, but most of the time you're at 1.2.
Bumping the brakes.
And yeah, I've been using the short bus flashers with the double fin. I know Brad's has got some really good breakaway ones that spin at low speeds. I'm going to play around with those. I see a lot of guys using those.
Yeah.
There's still guys using pro trolls, and they all work. I've seen guys modify them, where they put them in a press and heat them up a little bit and bend the ends a little more to get a little more kick.
Yeah.
And
that's the nice thing about that Brad's flasher that you're mentioning. It's the only one that has the 3-hole adjustment, and you can drop it to the lowest hole, which exposes a lot of front edge on that, right? So it's going to dig a lot more aggressively than, say, the first setting. So you expose a lot more lip, a lot more dig. I mean, and I really like that new mirrored chrome flasher they've come out with. Is that a good option for Drano Lake?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And the hottest color is that mirror chrome with some chartreuse or green, that lime fluorescent green. With some of that on. That's been the hottest combo.
Gotcha.
Really.
How about, are we right down on the deck, couple cranks off? Are we fishing suspended? Do you move the rods around, up and down, trying to figure out what they want on any particular day?
Yeah, you're suspended pretty much nonstop.
Okay.
At Drano, you just want to get your baits down there at 20 feet, So like if you're using 8 ounces, that's usually like 28 on the line counter.
Okay.
If you're using live scope, you can see exactly where it's at and where the fish are running, and some of the traditional sonar works good too. But you're in a whole different ball game now with the live scope. It's like I don't think that I would go out there and even attempt to do it without it. Drano, no problem because it's the lake. But when I'm at the Wind River and I have to speed up to go over stumps or over, little rock hills, it makes all the difference in the world.
Makes sense.
For sure.
So for the anglers that don't want to be part of the gridlock traffic that's part of the Drano 500, Talladega Nights, do the loop thing, and so they veer off, and are they finding any success by trolling plugs or coon shrimp under a bob or some of those other techniques? Is that a viable way to catch fish away from the crowd?
So you can fish the lake. You can go fish the lake and have total peace and quiet solitude, and you can spot lock and a lot of guys run bobber sand shrimp, or they'll do cluster bombs with egg and sand shrimp. And that bite comes on a little later. But I did see some guys at the Wind River catching them on the egg sand shrimp bobber gig. But yeah, there's spots where you can get away from people realistically. You don't have to fish the toilet bowl.
Right.
Okay.
And
I was going to say, so you're heading home for the weekend, but you're back Tuesday, and you're going to be there for what, 2-3 weeks, and you got some openings for folks to get a hold of you, book a couple trips.
yes, yeah, I've got quite a few seats open, and could use some business.
Okay, so best to just contact through the phone number at www.realtimefishing.com.
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. Always a pleasure, buddy. Glad you could take some time out and join us. Safe travels home, and then enjoy those few weeks there. If you got that open day, we may come and join you just to film, if nothing else, the absolute and utter chaos. And a day with Toby Wyatt on the water is always a good time.
It's still open, and I think that we might just have to do that. We'll talk later about that.
You got it, buddy. All right. Safe travels home, my friend. Toby Wyatt, Real Time Fishing, www.realtimefishing.com. Look them up, call the phone number, book a trip. Jumping out for a quick break, and we'll be back right after this. Allied, the new leader in heavy gauge aluminum boats. Allied boats have standard reverse chine and lifting rakes to help you plane faster and run at lower RPMs. Allied boats have several models to choose from, ranging from a 19-foot Mustang all the way up to a 32-foot Liberator. So regardless of what type of heavy gauge aluminum boats you are looking for, Allied Boats will have it for you. Contact Allied Boats today to learn more about these incredible fishing machines.
You haven't been here, but you know it. You've heard the sounds, smelt the air, and seen where your heart lands, if not yet. You haven't been here, but you've longed for a destination near or far, a place where discovery and history thrive for young eyes and old alike. You haven't been here, but you're on your way to a place not far. ExploreTheDalles.com.
All right, well, there you go. Always good with Toby. You all jacked up and ready to go and jump in the boat?
I don't know. I'm on the
trail?
fence on that one.
The Wind River's not too bad. It's like fishing other stretches of the Columbia, and there's fish around, and it can fish. It's named the Wind for a reason.
Yeah.
Got to pick your weather windows. We got out there last year, man, a squall came in and absolutely just, holy smokes. You would have thought it was a tornado striking down, but anyway, so things to look forward to. A lot of springer fishing still to be had in those particular areas. Pick your daddles, pick your days, pick your battles. I mean,
pick your daddles.
Pick your daddles. Speaking of picking daddles, we're heading over to the east side.
Yes.
Sunday, Jordan and I are jumping in the truck, taking the boat. We're going to go back to the east side. We're going to fish Roosevelt for a day. We're going to team up with Bobby Loomis at Max Lure and Richie Herod Outdoors LLC. And we're going to put a day in a couple hours away from there. We're going to go up to Kettle Falls area.
Yes, I really want the play-by-play.
You want the details on the walleye.
Yes.
For sure.
Yes.
Sounds like there's a good number of them up there. We're going to go chase some walleye for a day, and then we're going to decide what we're going to do. The report, obviously, from Herzog, solid as it is it worth dragging the boat an extra 2 hours to go fish Lake Palmer? Or, or I'm going to dial up good old buddy Troy Black and see how the lower end of Roosevelt is fishing. Now, things to keep in mind right now relative to Roosevelt, in that Spring Canyon area, they started flowing water a few weeks ago. We're off of that full moon cycle. So them things aren't feeding all night. So we may, in fact, encounter a higher number of participants than we did last time out.
I certainly hope so.
I'm sorry. I just like going and getting those side planers out there and fishing as many rods as we can, and as many bodies I can stuff on the boat.
Make you feel like you're fishing for tuna.
Yep. Just practicing. So I want to thank our guests, Bill Herzog, and of course Toby Wyatt, and had a great time with those gentlemen joining us for today's program. And lots to get out and do, Tommy. Lots of fisheries taking off, and the weather is going to be flat out amazing this weekend. We got a little bit of weather change coming in, but not Nothing too terrible, but weather is going to be nice. Fisheries are popping. It's time to go take advantage. So have a great week. Have a great weekend. Get outdoors, get something done. See you next week right here, Fish in Northwest.